First and foremost, welcome to MRD Chatroom. Given that we are in the season of independence, today we'll be discussing the topic Independence to Republic, Social and Economic Impacts from a Youth Perspective. So first we'll start with a brief introduction, starting from my left.
My name is Sadiq Austin. I'm from St. Anna's Boy, and I'm a senior prefect.
My name is Jaden Walker. I am a St. Mary's boy, and I am in the student council secretary.
My name is Rashawn Hackett. I'm the head boy of Queen's College, and I'm looking forward to the discussion today.
Hello, my name is Yusuf Bakaria. I am the Barbadians National Student Council second vice president and a member of the St. Anna's Boys Student Council.
My name is Jacob Black McGinnis. I go to school at St. Anna's School, and I'm a prefect.
And lastly, I am Sumaya Boyan, the deputy head girl of Queen's College, and I will be serving today as the moderator. So let's just cover a few opening questions. What does it mean to be independent? Any of y'all can answer this question?
Well, I would say that being independent means to break away and be free from a colony that we were once under. In our case, our independence was breaking away from England, where we now have our own leadership. So I would define that as independence.
Independence. Anybody else?
Yeah, I would say the pointest thing, and it also means to me at least, to be able to do what you want to do or
Yeah.
what you think is best for yourself.
I
To
agree.
have your own power to change what you want to change and do what you want to do.
Basically, doing things yourself.
Okay, perfect. Alright, so I'll be thinking the same thing. It basically means to be self-sufficient and able to make your own decisions, independent from a person or another nation, in our case. So what is the difference between being an independent country and being a republic?
The difference.
That's a
Okay,
difficult
so
Yeah.
they're both closely related, but I would say a republic is more so where the persons of the country elect who they want to lead, whereas independence is more so focused on, well, how do I word it? Independence is more so focused on the freedom of this. Let me start over.
Okay, that's not wrong.
In a republic system, the citizens of the country elect who they want to lead, and enabling them to have a say. Independence now is more so focused on the freedom of the citizens, where you don't have to answer to a higher up in terms of another country or another nation.
Right. So right, independence is basically no longer having to answer to the king or the queen, and it's about being free. However, being a republic is more so how the nation itself is governed. So you got to choose your own leaders. The people get to choose their leaders, and they have a say in the outcome of the country. Now, having said that, we'll move into the social impacts of becoming a republic. Now, to you, do you think anything in your life as young people changed since becoming a republic?
No.
Not really.
Not
I
really.
think our lives are
Our
fairly
life
maintained
and
as the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the same thing to that. Life has pretty much been the same. The only real difference is it's difficult getting accustomed to hearing that we have a president instead of a
Yeah.
governor
Yes.
general.
Right.
So that's new in terms of hearing that.
And then the sharing names like from Royal Barbados Royal Police Force changed. Right. That.
Right, yeah, I
So
agree.
you're not used to the
The
name
more the
changes.
little
The little things.
Small
Yeah.
things, no big
Yeah,
significant changes.
Not really.
Not really any significant changes.
I agree.
In my opinion, Barbados is still Barbados.
Barbados is still Barbados.
Right. We operate the same way.
Right. Okay, so if I was to ask, what do you think, or how do you think the lives of other children or young adults, especially young adults who are now able to vote, how do you think their lives have changed after becoming a republic?
I don't. In my opinion, I don't really think their lives changed.
Changed?
I can't really say much on the point because
Because
it would be more of a personal
personal.
thing.
Personal thing.
No, I don't think any of us in here can vote as yet, so it's like
That's true.
I agree with
we
you.
would
That's
be,
true.
it would just be speculation at that point.
Record.
Do you think any of the new adults would feel more involved in Barbados because they now
Yeah.
have a say in who
Right.
they elect?
I
Yeah,
definitely agree with that.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
Because
they would probably it would bring more people to want to change who runs the country. Like say, oh, I don't like what they're doing, now that we can change it, let's change it.
You
Let's
don't have the
do.
power.
We have the
Basically,
power to actually change the rules of the country.
Yeah.
At least in
Correct.
a
I agree
general
with
way.
Yusuf because
Mhm.
persons will now feel more involved in the ongoings of the country
Mhm.
and feel more they have a say because before when we had a queen and the higher ups, it would be very hard to converse our ideas towards these persons
Yeah.
and feel heard. But now whereas we have persons right here in our very own country that we can communicate our ideas to,
Mhm.
it feels as if we are being listened to more and young adults really would feel more involved in what's going on in the country.
That's true. Anybody else want to add anything?
Basically, in my opinion, more voices will be heard.
Yes.
More voices will be heard. Certain things that the queen, or not the queen, the king would have heard. Basically, trying to say it. Basically, more things will be brought up to the president and the prime minister to be dealt with more than what the king would have been told.
So easier communication. Okay, I agree with y'all. No, I don't know about y'all, but I love a good celebration. I love crop over season, everything of that sort. I love a good festival. Now, do you think that after becoming a republic, any of our traditions, that let's say Kadooment or some of the other national festivals that we have, do you think they have changed
No, I think that's the
or
same.
they remain the same?
They remain,
Definitely.
in my opinion, they
Same?
remain the
If,
same.
if they've changed, it changed for
The
the
only
better.
thing that has
Change
to
for the
change
better.
is that I find more Barbadians say Republic Day instead of Independence Day.
Independence Day.
I just hear it.
Which is most little, which is again a little thing.
Little name change.
Now that you
Yes.
mention that though, did the Republic Day become implemented?
I honestly,
Not to my knowledge.
not to my knowledge.
Okay, so that idea was scrapped.
I know we still have the Independence Day.
Yeah,
I think
for
the
sure.
Republic Day was supposed to be a couple days after
Right, yeah,
Independence Day,
after,
right?
I remember there was a thought about implementing a Republic
Yeah.
Day, but not many Bajans were on board with it.
I
So
think
Yeah.
everything
That's
just
why I
got
asked.
clumped together on
Mhm.
Independence Day. I remember one of my teachers was saying that in the past there was a day they used to fire fireworks. A couple days, I think it was before Independence Day, they had this
Mhm.
other celebration, I
It
can't
was a
remember what it
big-
was called, that used to shoot fireworks to represent something happening in the past. And when independence got implemented, that day got shifted over to Independence Day.
okay, that makes
Basically,
sense.
certain days just got pushed into one main topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that though because it's like if there's an Independence Day and a Republic Day, what would differentiate these 2 days in terms of the celebrations? I personally feel as if they're both celebrating the same thing.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, we were in both days we were still free from something.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think
agree.
in the years to come, it may be a more inclusive change. There'll be more changes coming out into the years. But right now, as of most recent, since we are now a republic, I don't think there are very a lot of changes. But further down, I do think that there are going to be a decent amount of changes.
Okay. I agree.
I know what he said. Basically, as I said earlier, a lot more voices will be heard, which could change the issues in Barbados.
That's true. So, I do agree with a lot of what you said. Most of our festivals are the same. If anything, they just include a little more present day or modern information when it comes to celebrating, but most of it is still celebrating our past. Now, moving on, in what ways would we have new job opportunities open up for young people since our country is now run by people we chose or voted for?
Yeah, you want
I
to
will speak.
Okay, no problem.
In a sense that we are, I guess you could say that since we are young people, I do think that we're gonna have some sort of change, and I do think that there's gonna be a no change. But at the same time, I don't think a lot is gonna change. To be honest, it's like a more of a
You can be more self-sufficient.
yeah. It's more something like that if you understand.
Like there's more job in these same markets that we currently
Yeah.
have.
I honestly feel there will be less state expectations needed in the young society. Basically saying that a lot more young voices would be heard in certain matters.
Yes, please.
Any problem will be taken more seriously, in my opinion.
Right. I actually agree with Jaden in terms of more voices being heard because with the leadership of the country now being in our hands and persons who we elected, we now have the ability to communicate with these persons because the reality of it is that that's how they obtain the votes. You tell them what you want, and they will try to compromise and do what the citizens of the country would like. So I think that more young persons are heard, and the government, when they hear these responses, they can implement new job opportunities, which would both benefit the individual and it would benefit the country as well. So I definitely think that us becoming a republic has improved this for us. Yeah.
Sure, I agree. So how does the government of our republic, and I know this is not really a common question that you would hear often, but how does the government of our republic help young people trying to start businesses, young entrepreneurs? Do you think there's anything that they do currently offer or could offer to better their experience or road towards opening their own businesses?
I know the country, we have funding. You can go request for assistance for small business loans and other aspects. I know there's governments. You can also with banks and stuff like that. But generally, there's a lot of workshops now. I find as of lately, a lot of either independent organizations or organizations in partnership with, say, Ministry of Youth Empowerment, Ministry of Education. They kind of try to do these very often, kind of teach people about, if not just business, everyday life. I know the I Am conference was recently, that was Ministry of Youth. I went to that personally, I enjoyed it. There was also, you have to more look around with social media and stuff like that, but there's other conferences, there's other workshops that happen, schools, education-wise, what's it, POB, POA, all these subjects, they're trying to guide the youth more into that business aspect. At St. Leonard's, we take a very big pride in business. It's one of those subjects we kind of push a lot more than a lot of the other stuff. So generally, students at the school kind of gear more towards starting businesses or develop. We have the Mr. Executive $20 challenge, all these different things that kind of trying to teach these students how to manage a business, how to
be a owner,
be a leader, how to talk, stuff like that. So I think even from, let me say, me now going back to school, first found out been 6 years ago, the government has been trying to push more businesses, more internal investing into countries rather than outsiders investing into the country.
Sure. Right. I just want to add to that. I actually agree with what you said, Yusuf. That was a great point. But I just want to add and say that I think the government is also doing a really great job in terms of helping the young entrepreneurs, because you would have mentioned the schools. I don't know if any of you guys would be involved, but at certain schools like St. Leonard's, I know that there's skills training. Some guys do barbering. Any guys here involved?
I don't know.
I know that Barbadians Secondary Schools is a very big.
There's mechanics, barbering. We have I want to do this when I came back. Cooking and plating.
Chefs.
Metalwork.
Food nutrition, metalwork. So a lot of our subjects, they say they're CXCs, but in reality they're CVQs. I did a subject last year called Industrial Technology Building, which is basically masonry, woodworking, and a couple other subjects, all just tied into one. So it's a CXC. In reality, it feels like a CVQ.
Yes,
we didn't do any paperwork.
Right.
Hands-on.
Right. So I really agree with that, because you guys would have mentioned the subjects like POA and business subjects, but I feel as if skills are also very important when it comes to entrepreneurship, because these skills help persons to develop traits that you can then market yourself, market your brand, and you can go into the workforce and benefit the economy and the country. So I believe that skills that persons been overlooked, some skills like barbering, some skills like hairdressing and nails and stuff that some of the females may do, I believe that these skills are very crucial in the school. So I really would like to commend the government for what they're doing in terms of implementing these skills.
And to add to that, it doesn't even have to be such a big job, like to be a business person. The fact that you can have a barbershop or have your own little business or a little shop is great for our youth in this thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody starts off small at some point.
Yes, I agree.
So that was actually kind of leading into my next question, which would be, do you think that the government offering more workshops and funding and so on would be able to help your generation, including y'all, in getting your own business started and helping the economy in the long run? Do you think that this would help us long term?
Yes.
Yes, I
Yes.
think it will
Yes.
help us in the long term, but self-confidence is a main thing that majority of youth nowadays does not have. And in my opinion, self-confidence is needed to broadcast certain ideas to certain people that want to partner with your business. If you
Very
don't,
true.
in my opinion, if you don't have self-confidence, you really don't have nothing to begin with.
Can you repeat your question quickly?
Oh yes. So my question was, do you think if the government offered or are offering more workshops and programs and also financial funding for you, the upcoming generation, do you think that that would help our economy long term or in the long run?
Yes, I definitely agree that it would help our economy because back to the skills that we would have mentioned, these skills that the programs that the government implement, they would help persons who are not so focused on the schoolwork because let's face the reality of it, not everyone is interested in
Theory.
the theory of the schoolwork, right? That's the word I'm looking for in terms of the subjects like chemistry, biology, maths. Not everyone is interested in those subjects, so I believe that, right, some persons are more hands-on, more practical, so I very much believe that the skills, like there's some at the polytechnic where you can go and do electronics, there's a variety of skills. You were saying something?
Carpentry, yeah.
Carpentry,
Polytechnic is
masonry,
everything.
there's those skills that persons from secondary level can begin and get into so that when they finish their schooling they can go right into the workforce, whereas if we have a person who's not interested in the theory aspect of it and we still force them to do the schoolwork, I believe that that's kind of a waste because then when they don't try their best and we discard them from the school system when they reach 16 or 18, then they're left stranded with no skills and they still weren't interested in the work. So I believe that these skills are very good in terms of helping the youth, and I believe that it will take the youth a long way.
And I think as a country after COVID, we saw the implementations of our market as tourism. COVID, we didn't have anything like that. So having those people inside the country working will boost the economy if something similar of that would happen again. Hopefully it doesn't. If a pandemic or if a natural disaster affects the country, say a hurricane, we've had our first hurricane in almost 90 years or something like that. Now that we have that possibility, we're as a country we gotta focus more on ourselves rather than having a market both outside. So we export tourism. That's the market. Rather than have tourism, people know producing stuff inside the country.
We should open more branches.
Open more branches, open more businesses, food, all these different things that the country kind of is pushing towards. We have so much resources on the island that just haven't been tapped, haven't been used yet. I think the next biggest thing we do is sugar and rum.
Yeah. I think that Barbadians have a lot like on open gems, like,
Untapped potential.
on top potential. I was gonna say sorry. I think that we just have to manifest it and have to just embrace it, and I think that this country get very, very, very far, but we just don't use our potential as much.
That's true.
Right. I'm glad Yusuf, that you mentioned resources because I find that as a country we just look at how much funds we have or
Yeah.
what businesses we have as resources, but I think we also need to realize that I personally believe that our youth is our greatest resource in terms of that the youth is who's going to carry us farther into the future. So I really and truthfully believe that as much as possible should be done to develop the youth so that we can have our own resources, our own businesses, which then we can outsource to the world. So I strongly believe that youth is the greatest resource we have.
Now, we talk a lot about tapping into these untouched gems and resources that we have here and using the youth as our resources. Do you think, seriously, and honestly, you can reply, do you think that you would be willing to put yourself out there to put Barbados on the map? Do you think you have the self-confidence yet to do that?
I honestly believe we have the self-confidence, but in my opinion today, today's society believe that the younger youth should leave school with a certain amount of CSCs to get somewhere, and leaving the people that are great with their hands on the sideline. So basically, you will find people that can't build nothing, but just because they have the math, the English, certain qualifications, Bram get the job. So in my opinion, I believe that this society should stop focus on the certain certificates, qualifications, and more focus on the skill.
I think that both should be offered the same respect,
Yeah.
having the knowledge and having the skill.
Right. Because without skill, you
The
have
people
nothing.
who do the electrician work, they make the world go. Electricians make more money than a doctor. That's a fact. Electricians, plumbers. If we don't have these people, we wouldn't be in this room.
That's true.
The lights wouldn't be working. The AC wouldn't be on.
You won't
The
even have
lights
two
wouldn't
of
be
them, or
connected.
That is true.
Without these people going out of their way to do their job, do what they're really, really good at, we wouldn't have
We would
anything.
have nothing.
If the garbage men didn't do their job,
And
we'd have rats and mice on the road.
That is true.
I agree with that point actually, because I agree with what Jaden said. I think we really need to look at them equally and not so much look at education on a higher pedestal, but we also need to see the craftsman and the person who are on their hands and feet on that level too, because as the guys would have said, those are the persons who really build up the country, and without either the education or without either the craftsmen, we will not be where we're at today. So I really think that we need to treat both with the same respect and not look down on one.
Yes, yes. You were saying something?
I was gonna say that yes, you do have the brains, but there's a difference between a mindset and doing like there's between having a mindset. All you're trying to say by this mindset is there's between having the brains to do something instead of you may have the plan, but to come there and do and to put your hands on it and build and do what you have to do is two different things. And I think that school focuses a lot on people who are, I don't want to say smarter, but people who are of that level, who are interested in doing schoolwork and stuff like that. But what about the youth who come from a bad background and are not interested in schoolwork because they have only seen the other side? To know for them now to go into the workforce, not interested, not competed inside the school, to now go into the workforce, uneducated, unskilled, is very hard. And these people that may have seen a rough side of life have a great potential.
Great potential, that's true.
Coming from a bad background as myself, I can speak. I go to school at St. Andrews. St. Andrews has a reputation of bad boys and has a reputation of boys who are not the brightest, who are like boys who are used to fighting, boys who are bad boys. When you see a St. Andrews boy on the road, people don't associate us with goodness or any sort of good. They associate us with bad. But I just say it, there are great St. Andrews boys at the school, and there are people who actually want to have an education. It's just the fact of our reputation as boys who go to school and fight and do this and go to school and fight and all this is really not our name. We have great boys at the school, and they have great boys at every school and great girls and boys, but it just shine down on the school. Coming from 18 at 11 plus is something that should be I don't want to say this, but I think that should be gotten rid of. I think that no matter what school you pass from, you go to your school and you do what you have to do, you will be subject to greatness. But that's all I have to say.
Adding on to what you said, I honestly agree with the part where some people just see a St. Andrews boy walking on the road and think, oh, he's fight, he do drugs, he steal. And that needs to stop looked upon, because I think this St. Andrews boys have so much opportunities that, no disrespect to other schools, that certain schools do not have. And I honestly think St. Andrews is a great school. I mean, other schools have other bad gems, but
The bad gems outshine the good gems at our school.
right, the bad gems usually outshine the good gems at our school. But in my opinion, we have more good gems now than the bad that we had.
The
in past
history of
couple
our
years.
school is changing.
It's
and
changing drastically.
It's Is
you,
a fact.
you find a lot more men guys that are interested in their school work going to St. Lawrence now than what they had when I was in first and second farm.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, going back to the same point that you were saying, showing us as a group, we're showing ourselves off the country. We're sitting down in a room talking
many can
about
do this.
the problems that we face or stuff like that. But as a country going to the open, we have so many people already doing that. I can give the biggest example, Rihanna. Everybody knows that one. Everybody knows that one. So, us going on that stage, it's not going to change as much as we want it to change. We need to worry about what's happening here, not what people see us as.
Yes, please.
Because if we don't have anything, if we have problems in, let me say, the school systems or trying to get people to actually do stuff to make the country better, how are we gonna go and show off all that we have when we got problems here that we need to fix, that we have the people that want to fix it, yet we're not doing anything about it.
That's true. I'm glad. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think that Barbados can be more known for its own country than Rihanna. And I think that's a very big thing in this country. I think that Rihanna is our top of the lane. If you know Rihanna Youth, and she says she's from Barbados, that's how people know Barbados. It's not the tourism, it's not the beaches, it's not the beautiful beaches, it's not the hotels, it's not the infrastructure, it's not the towns of Barbados, it's because of Rihanna. And I think that we have so much potential of this country.
That was a good jump start.
Adding on to something, no disrespect to Rihanna, but even on certain social media, even if Rihanna pulls a picture, we as Bajans tend to make that the main subject, even though we have more personal problems in the island. So in my opinion, instead of broadcasting somebody, broadcast the importance of the youth, what the youth is doing, like how we're in here sitting down having a conversation. I always believe that needs to be more put forward. Like at per se, a youth, like multiple people from my age group started your business already that I know already. I think that needs to be pushed forward
Get more
instead
recognition.
of certain things that is not really relevant to the island.
True. So then, as a youth, what do you think your role in society in this republic is? What would you do? What responsibilities do you think you have?
I think that the responsibility we have is just to make as much of the opportunities that we have, because the reality of it is that there's some places in the world that don't have what we have, and there's some places that have more. So all we can do as youth is use whatever resources we have, whether it's the technology, whether it's the sports, whether it's the businesses, just use whatever we have and make something out of it. And I also think that as youth we need to, as these guys have said, promote more positivity, because when you think of young men in Barbados, all that's promoted is the bad things, but you hear more bad than good, and I really and truthfully don't feel that that should be the way, because as the guys would have mentioned before, there's a lot of young people doing great stuff. So I think that the youth, yes, we can improve ourselves to help the country, but I think it's also from a national standpoint in promoting the good that the youth is doing. So that's what I have to say.
I find a lot of people try to push a lot on us. They try to, I'm gonna say force, but that's a very vague. They try to push a lot on us. For example, with CXCs and stuff like that, getting all these marks, getting all these 1s, 2s, whatever. Yet, we're children. We got to live a life. We have to do stuff to find our own way through life. I know there's so many people last year when I was at fifth form who had no clue what they wanted to do, who didn't have an idea, who didn't even know, I don't know what subject should I pick. I had a friend that changed his subject halfway through fifth form, which is foolish. You already did a year of work where you're changing it halfway through it. But at the end of the day, that was because of all his family pushing pressure. When I first went in for fourth form, I changed TD to physics. I never was a TD fan. My dad's an architect. I don't want to do that. I know enough of TD that I could get. I want to do physics because I love the class. I love physics. And my father was like, why did you change the subject? It don't make sense for you to change the subject. I can't help you. I said, it's me that doing the subject. It's not my dad. It's not my mom, my grandmother, no one. It's us that are doing these subjects. So anytime a child or the youth do something, everybody else says, why this, why that, why them doing all of this. We're doing it because we want to do it. Because we see a purpose in doing it. When it relate back in the day when people had problems with XYZ, I get their parents or people would say, why you doing that? Why you doing this? But we are doing this because we want to do it. Because it's something we enjoy.
Can I say this? The thing that we as Gen Zs, let me say Generation Zs, Gen Zs, I think that our past, our parents, our grandparents, our ancestors has been limited us to a certain future. You go to school, do CSCs, and get a big job, man. Well, I think that needs to change. I think that we need to broaden our aspects and broaden our mind to new opportunities, to new jobs, to new everything. We have been limited to certain extents. For example, is that I was going to school in primary school, and I wanted to be an athlete, and I wanted to be a professional athlete. My mother and father pushed me to be an athlete from not SAP straight to be SAP, and I have dropped none of that. No, I want to be a civil engineer, and that made me a very broad topic, a very vague and a very unique topic for a boy who is in Barbados, in the Atlantic Ocean, not even the Caribbean Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. It was such a small place like Barbados, but I think that these things need to be regulated in this country. Aim high, and if you don't even make it that high, you still, I hope and pray that you can rely on something. If you did not make it to be a civil engineer, as my example, you can hope and pray you still be electrician, because civil engineer is a broad topic. Still be an electrician, still be a plumber, still be a lot of these different things. And I don't think you should be vague to, for example, my mother is a caterer. She caters food places, workplaces and events and functions. I think that she should have brought her mind to be a restaurant owner, to be her own restaurant owner, to be her own businesswoman. I think that she aims to be a restaurant owner, but she fails to be a caterer. It is still a great thing. But brought her mind, don't go to school to be a police officer. Go to school to be, I don't say that that's not what you want to do, and I do understand that you want to become a police officer, but aim higher, and if you drop, you still aim above what you guys, then the bottom of the barrel, to me.
Yeah. I just wanted to add too, because I really and truthfully love the points that you guys know made, but I also just wanted to add the fact that I think that more support should be given to the youth, because persons, as he would have not mentioned, persons will say they want to be something, and because of parents and maybe teachers' disapproval, they would be discouraged from doing it, and I don't think that that should ever be the way. And one more thing I would like to say is that we don't need to rush the youth. Also, I find that a lot of parents tend to rush children our age. Like, you have persons 16, 17, and when they're asked what they want to do, they will not be sure as yet, but people will be forcing them down a certain career path and forcing them to do the aspect that they would have wanted to do, which then will lead them to doing something that really and truthfully they don't enjoy. So I think we just need to give young persons a little more time to develop and really think, and just support them so that when they're ready and come around to finding out what they do want to do, it's something that they enjoy. So I really and truthfully think that the adults also need to support youth in whatever they're doing.
That's true. And I'm glad y'all made these points, because it also still plays into our theme of independence. being independent enough to make your own decisions on your career path, maybe even just your subjects at school. Being independent to make your own decisions to aim higher instead of falling short or choosing the path that was already laid out for you. Being independent, that you can choose what you want to do at your given time and don't have to be rushed. No. I just have 2 questions left. Almost done. If you could make a change in the lives of young people in your country, how you are now, not in the future, at present, what changes would you make to help change your lives or better the lives of other young people around you?
I honestly believe that adding on to the past points that they made, I honestly believe that it could change the parents stop trying to create a path for their children that they don't want to follow. In my opinion, it's very unfair. I believe even if your son wants to take, or son or your daughter wants to take a garbage on city road, you should be able to tell them, be the best garbage collector you can be. Always make sure that you're there for the future, because at the end there, when you close your eyes, you should know, yeah, my child Bart is okay, I am good, then good potentials in your country.
Getting the people off the wrong neighborhoods, getting the children away from those, say, block men.
That lifestyle.
I say fake gangsters because they don't do. A lot of the time they hire around these people, they develop into. They get. A child's mind is easily molded, especially by the people around them. Especially during puberty and during your early lifehood. Like from the ages of 5 to 10, what you see around you, you're gonna keep. And then from during puberty, you kind of stay around the people that interest you. In a lot of the cases, these are the block men, gangsters, or wannabe criminals. And they develop these points, they start becoming very violent. This is why St. Leonard's has that reputation. Because a lot of those boys end up coming here. And then due to the fact you're surrounded by males, you want to kind of show off, or be the bigger person. Not in the good way, in the bad way. So they start to develop bad habits, smoking, drinking, stealing, gambling, all these different things. And then they start getting violent, they start fighting, all these different stuff. Getting these children away from these people. Getting these children in youth groups. I know there's people out there who do these things very often. A lot of times in certain communities they'll have a community group who try to do stuff for these students, for these people, to take them away from that. A lot of times these can be developed due to, what's it called, not having a father figure in your life. A lot of times that's what then they guide over to these people who they view as a father figure, and then they develop these bad habits, and then no, they're in prison, or they're in DODS, or they're in, what's the other one called? For the children? Juvenile delinquents, or the juvenile school, whatever it's called.
Honestly, I myself was added in from a juvenile liaison scheme. I honestly do not believe it's a bad program. I don't even agree with the name juvenile, because all I see is that when I go to these programs like the youth elevation scheme, anything like the mentorship program, I honestly see children that grew up from bad neighborhoods that, oh yeah, like smoking weed, that's all they know. But some that parents do not care. Even if they come home late, they just don't care. So I honestly believe that certain programs like the juvenile liaison scheme, youth elevation scheme, should be made that you could have these mentors, these counselors that will let the child that does not know better, yeah, I'm here for you. Make the child feel some sort of comfort to, and encourage them to benefit their future, to make Barbados a better place.
I think that this is a very, 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 very unwelcome point. Mental health, a very not very unwelcome point. Let me say a very shy point. No one really talks about it. mental health in Barbados is something that people need to talk about. I am a young person struggling with mental health. I think everyone here has something about mental health problem. The mental health in Barbados is very on scheme. If I tell my mother or father that I do everything, I am depressed, I am sad, I am this way, they don't really understand what I am trying to say. If I say I am depressed, I feel my emotions, I am stressed out, I have anxiety, or I have any of these mental problems, they don't really understand, and they don't really configure to these emotions, and a lot of mental stress and a lot of academic stress as well, a lot of schoolwork pressure, having to do so much extracurricular activities and so much stuff to do can lead to a lot of stress, and that's something we also struggle with. A person who's an athlete, a student council member, a schoolwork, a person who's doing CSCs, and someone's doing CAPE as well. To tackle all these things, and coming from a background, I am a person who's doing preparation and everything for all my subjects, and also trying to eligible for all my subjects for CSC, and not having any proper support to come and do CSCs. This can actually be a very big problem, because so you might have a school where you may be studying right, but you go home and cursing your house, or someone hitting you, or any type of emotional or domestic violence at your house is a very 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 drastic thing. It could really trample your schoolwork, because you could really be struggling on the inside and no one knows. You go to school smiling and you go to home crying. And I think that people don't have to understand the mental system in Barbados needs to be looked on. People very 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 much young people in this world, in this Barbados, are distressed, are depressed. I won't say I was depressed, but I was at a state in mind where I was not very happy with everything around me. And I think that some people need to understand that, yeah, people are stressed out. There's a lot of people running away. You haven't heard a lot of people, children running away and lost. And a boy from his school was lost up the other day, who was not, well, ran away from his home as he go to school as us. And to see that happen at our own school, it's not even someone in a whole other world or anything. So he goes to school with us running away, and he goes to school, no one.
I also add into the situation with the boy being missing. I can remember walking on the road, people were telling us, yeah, what want to do with the little boy? If we beat him and left him behind school, if we do something to him, and in my opinion, you shouldn't be asking us that question, because at the end of the day, you don't know if that boy is our closest friend, anything. So in my opinion, being asked these questions hurted me, because why would you look down? Why people look at St. Leonard's that bad to really make it feel that we did something to them?
Jump to the conclusion
that we basically.
We don't know what happened. No one at St. Leonard's really knows what happened to him.
We really
We've
didn't
been
know
left
what
in the
happened.
dark.
In a nation built on strength and unity, I think we should rather support one another.
Yeah.
Whether it be in terms of mental health or supporting somebody in a time of need. I think we also need to be independent enough to stray away from our backgrounds. You might come from a rough background, but that does not mean you have to fall into a life of crime and violence. So our time is starting to dwindle. I have one last question for you guys, and I want each of you to answer this question just in a couple words. What's one thing that you took away from today's discussion?
Let me start off.
You want me to start off?
One thing that I would say I took away from the discussion with the guys is that the result or the product of the youth today is not only because of what they think or what's going through their minds, it's because of a lot of what is fed into the youth that strongly impacts them. Because in a lot of cases with schools, as these guys will not mention, we see a lot of stereotyping. You would hear that you would hear about top schools and you would hear about quote unquote dumpsy schools. And I don't think that should ever be the way, because just because someone is excelling in the theory or the academic aspect doesn't mean that someone else at another school isn't excelling in the skills that we would have spoken about earlier. So I really and truthfully think that the stereotyping needs to be stopped. And it starts from a young age, and it really dwindles with the mindset of the young people, because from common entrance, if you don't pass for one of the quote-unquote high schools, parents would be disappointed and tell you, oh, you're a failure, whatever the case is. But that shouldn't be the mindset. I think the mindset should more so be that it's not what your school can do for you, but it's what you can do for the school and what you can offer. So I think that it starts with the surroundings and what's being fed into the youth. Yeah.
One thing I take away from this discussion is us as a youth. This thing isn't very broad. It's like us as a youth hold the key to the future of Barbados and the prosperity. And before us, I think that this country will suffer, and I think that it needs to be a fact that we are the hierarchy of Barbados. We are the people who are going to take charge, and we are the people who are going to be the future. And that's one thing I could take from this.
One thing that I could take from this here is that mental, as my fellow colleague said, mental health is a big aspect. And you not being able to focus on mental health can empower youth. And then another thing I took from this school is that they just need to stop stereotype people. We stereotype people on their job, school, or even hobby. I honestly believe that it's very wrong, and it shouldn't even be brought up in the first place.
One thing to take away is that no matter what you do, the older folks that they believe in, what the younger folks want to do, don't force what they want to do onto the youths, and always have their backs. Don't force what you want to do on the youths.
One thing I took away from this discussion was independence doesn't just start with the broader nation, it starts with us as individuals. Being independent enough to make your own decisions in terms of career, when you want to do what you want to do, where you would like to do it, how you can contribute to society, even in choosing our leaders in this republic. I think a lot of our progress starts here. Now, ladies and gents, as we wrap up today's panel discussion, I'd like to send sincere thanks to all of our panelists for all their insightful contributions and for all your engaging participation. Our dialogue today has highlighted the importance of collaboration, innovation, and continual learning and addressing of certain topics and challenges, and seeking new opportunities. So let's carry forward the ideas and inspiration shared today into our respective schools and even everyday life, fostering a spirit of teamwork and commitment and excellence. And remember, the true value of this discussion lies not only on what we have heard today, but in how we apply this knowledge, how we go about choosing who we'd like to follow, choosing our leaders, how we make our decisions, how we be independent in our lives and in our personal lives and in the broader community. So thank you once again for being a part of this discussion, and let's continue to inspire and support each other as we move forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.